Hello and welcome back to Vinyl Friday. We are at week 4 of 4 special episodes for the holidays. Last week we were counting down the top 10 characters from Beatles songs. And as I was explaining last time, learning to draw was sort of being coupled with this Beatles character ranking thing that I was putting together from the beginning of the year. But I completed my ranking, and when I started doing the drawings, I started with the best rather than the worst, which means that as the characters get better, the drawings get worse, and vice versa. So, today the Beatles characters get worse and my drawing gets better. Let's go. As a recap, the rules are as follows. No covers, which exempts Long Tall Sally, Mr. Moonlight, Dizzy Miss Lizzie, and Maggie May. Rule number 2 is no songs in which the characters are based on real people, which rules out She Said, Dr. Robert, Mr. Kite, Hey Jude, Dear Prudence, Martha My Dear, Julia, and Her Majesty. And the last point is that none of the comments that I'm making here are a judgment on how good or bad the songs are, because I think we can all agree that all the Beatles songs are exceptionally good. With that said, let's begin. This list was much harder to put together because I found that I was constantly contradicting my choices in defense of the songs. This song is too good to deserve a place on this list, but I persisted. In the name of science, with my spreadsheeted system. And here's number 10, The King of Marigolds from Cry Baby Cry. My first metric for judging these songs is the quality of the name and the creativity of the name. This is a pretty solid name. King of Marigolds rolls off the tongue, quite colorful, very image heavy. I have no idea why he's called that. The second metric is sort of how colorful and well defined the backstory and the character itself are. I find the story behind Cry Baby Cry is detailed but very disjointed. It's an unusual and enjoyable narrative, but it's really not cohesive. You're never really sure why you're being told everything that you're being told as a listener. And I think that the song does nothing to clarify the narrative because it's sort of aimless. I love the song, but it sort of meanders. It's not as clearly directional as some of the others that we've looked at, like Bungalow Bill, where there's a clear beginning, middle, and end. That's why it's on this list. Oh, and the drawing. Alright, this is my King of Marigold. I don't know why I've chosen this color. This seems like the wrong color for the King of Marigold. I don't know, take it up with my past self from like July or August. As you can see, we've improved from last week's episode. Desmond's head is enormous. Molly's face is ridiculous. Her legs, what's going on with her legs? We've got a lot more detail on the clothing. We've got some ruffles going on. We've got some texture to the hair, which I quite like. And his eyes are a lot more expressive. You can see I'm becoming brave and I'm trying out fingers, but I'm still not very good at them. I'm like Quentin Blake level fingers at the moment. And as we saw with Polythene Pam, this man is jacked. Look at those thighs. My man is a cyclist at the very least. Also, his legs are way too short given the length of his torso. Generally though, big improvement. Also, the feet are a big improvement. His right foot is facing us, and I was not able to do that last time. He's just standing in a, what's that called? First position? It's a ballet move. That's what he's doing. Big improvement on last week. Let us move on. Number 9, She's Leaving Home. From the start, we're docking points because the main character is unnamed. Even the parents are unnamed. So it's this whole family of people and nobody has a name. But we'll be a little bit lenient because maybe she's supposed to be an anyone kind of a character and that's why she wasn't given a specific name. But that's really the only thing that lets the song down in the rankings because the backstory is thorough. We understand the character's motivations, not only the main character but also the parents. We sit with their feelings, everyone is very hurt.
How could you do this to me?
And we understand multiple perspectives. It's quite nuanced. Actually, except the man from the motor trade, we know nothing about him, but he's sort of secondary to the plot, you know? And equally, the music is a beautiful match for the story. It's plaintive, it's reflective, it's sad, but it's also hopeful. But no names, so it's made it onto this list, unfortunately. And here is she, with this little cap and the Converses. It looks like she's leaving home in Portland, Oregon, especially as she's got a little military camping backpack. Fond of the turtleneck, but the neck is too long. The hands are getting better. That hand is not terribly embarrassing. Actually, neither of those hands is terribly embarrassing. So, yeah, good job. We're getting somewhere with this. Number 8 is Lady Madonna. The name is fine. It's a modern interpretation of the mother archetype. Good. I like that. The backstory is a great little vignette about an overworked and under-resourced mother who has probably too many kids. No, that's judgmental. Who has more kids than she can easily care for. The letdown for me in the song, and again, I am not saying that I have any complaints with the songwriting. Songwriting is primo. But in terms of the character, for the purposes of this episode, I think that the music lets down the story. It's too boisterous. It is too happy. The song describes this utter, overwhelming exhaustion, this fatigue, this lethargy.
Tuesday afternoon is never ending.
Life is hard. She's struggling to keep going. On the other hand, maybe the song is meant to embody the grind. Maybe the point of the music is to bring this, get up, keep going kind of energy, which in its own way is also exhausting. I quite like this drawing of Lady Madonna because I've accidentally, in this image, learned about wrinkles and how to angle the wrinkles so that you can see what's underneath. That was not intentional, it was an accident. I'm quite pleased with that. She looks sad and tired, which is what I was going for. The children though, I didn't put as much effort into the children as I did their mother. Their faces are sort of strange shapes, their feet are a little bit weird, and the one behind her doesn't appear to have a nose. That aside, the children are secondary in this story, so I'm not too upset with this one. I think the toes on her left foot are on backwards. Number 7 is Paperback Writer. Wow, it's so dark. Really does look like story time now. It's fine. The weather does what the weather does. Paperback Writer. Docking points because the name's vague. Also, docking points because the story is obfuscated by the very convoluted plot of the book that's being described like we have a story within a story, possibly even within a story. We've got this character. That character is trying to be a paperback writer. So I wanna be a paperback writer. But his book is about someone whose son is trying to be a paperback writer. It's a steady job, but he wants to be a paperback writer. It's paperback writerception. The song, it's fantastic. I love the song. That's not what we're here to discuss. Oh, that hurt. I think the song is fun, but it doesn't communicate the drive and desperation of the main character. So that, I think, is something that is missing. So we're docking points for that as well. However, the paperback writer drawing was one of my favorite of this entire project. Here he is. He looks like something out of a children's book. He's got arm hair, his fingers don't look super weird. And the thing about drawing is that if you're not very good at it, it's very difficult to get all of the elements to work together at once. Usually at least something looks kind of weird. Well, I suppose in this picture it's that the front legs of the table are way longer than the back legs of the table, and also the bottom of the lamp is, you know what, let's not pick this apart. I like this picture, okay? I think it's a good picture. Moving on. Number 6 is Honey Pie. The name is the song's greatest weakness, in my humble opinion. She is described as a legend of the silver screen, right? But the legends of the silver screen all have these really bold, distinctive names like Ginger Rogers and Hedy Lamarr. There was an opportunity here to create a really interesting name for this character. I may just have to wait until this downpour passes. And we're back with bonus cat. Not for long. So basically, I feel like Paul has passed up the opportunity to come up with a really creative name for a movie star of Hollywood's golden age, you know? The story, though, solid. Great narrative, very engaging, and the music, chef's kiss. Perfect little period piece. Really, it's just the name that lets it down. So that's number 6, and unfortunately I really mucked up this drawing. It was going really well. We've got the detail, we've got the chaise longue. On the chaise longue. Oh, you're back! We've got the little, what is it called, finger waves in her hair. I even looked up that outfit, but then I tried to give her a mouth and it was all over. So, she held such promise. The fingers, again, aren't hideous. They're not my best, but they're getting there. We're getting somewhere with them. Her feet are comically small. Number 5 is Lovely Rita. The name, I understand it's designed to rhyme with the following line, meter maid. But I think that lovely is a mediocre descriptor. He could have come up with a better adjective, I believe. One that told us more about the character. Maybe something beginning with T, like tender Rita, testy Rita, tetchy Rita, touchy Rita, tetchy Rita, toothy Rita. I don't know. It just, lovely is a very generic adjective, you know? What's she like, Paul? What is this woman like? And really that's kind of the problem with this song. As with the name, we really don't learn anything about Rita. All we know is that she has this job as a meter maid, and she went out for dinner with the singer at some point and she paid for it. Got the bill and Rita paid it. But like, why did she pay for it? Is it because she was having such a lovely time? Is it because she makes a fortune writing out tickets for people's cars? Is it because she just wanted to be done with it and go home? You know, like with a song like Lady Madonna, we really get to know the character's feelings and understand why she is the way that she is, but we get nothing about Rita. And also, what the hell is that line at the end about the sisters? I nearly made it, sitting on the sofa with the sister or two. I try not to think on that too often. And the song itself is like bouncy and bounding. It's really hard to judge because we don't really know enough about Rita to be able to tell whether or not the song contributes to the building of her character. What it does tell you is that this is a Paul McCartney song. It kind of tells us more about Paul than about Rita. It sounds like Paul McCartney. So it's number 5 on this list. There we go. And this is my drawing. Yeah. Now, again, she was kind of tricky to draw because I don't really know what her motivations are, but she looks kind of grouchy, which is my experience of most parking wardens I've come across grouchy. Lovely Rita's got some weird shoes. It looks like she's wearing rock climbing shoes. I think maybe her legs are too short again. This seems to be a running theme with me. But her hat's pretty good. Big fan of the bag. Yeah, she's not too bad. Passable. I'm not embarrassed by it. Number 4 is Michelle. Ma belle. This is a lot like Lovely Rita in terms of these rankings. For a start, she is so named because the name rhymes with the following line. Michelle, ma belle. It's suitably French. I have no complaints. It's fine. But, like with Lovely Rita, she has no backstory. We just know that she is desired by the singer. I want you, I want you, I want you. We don't know why. We don't know, like, is she funny? Is she intelligent? Is she just good looking? Is it just that Michelle and my belle are words that go together well? Over a year ago, I did an episode on Run for Your Life, in which I talked about John Lennon's misogyny. And someone made a really interesting comment. I don't remember who, so I can't quote you directly, I'm afraid. This commenter made the point that there was so much focus on John's misogyny, but he clearly went to a lot of trouble later in his life to grow as a person and to make amends for his past wrongs. Probably with the help of his wife Yoko Ono, who taught him about the plight of women. On the other hand, no one talks about Paul's brand of misogyny, which is to look at women as objects, in his music that is, really not give any detail as to who they are as people. Even though John on Rubber Soul was singing Catch You With Another Man, That's the End of Little Girl, this commenter was making the point that we shouldn't take that too seriously because he also has songs on the album like Girl, where he is very explicitly describing this person and her qualities and her values. Whereas Paul tends to write songs more like, she was definitely a woman? Of course, he did grow as a person because he went on to write Eleanor Rigby and some of the other ones that are on the other list from last week, and you can watch that video here. The music, though, perfect. Perfection. No notes. Well done, Paul McCartney. The man sure could write a good song. Now, this is my drawing of Michelle. And if I'm being honest, I had to move her a little bit in the list because it just didn't feel right where I had her before. So this drawing is actually much older, which I think is why it is not as good as the others. Also, I accidentally drew a line down the middle of her face, and that messed it up somewhat. Her fingers bend in directions that fingers are not meant to bend. Her chest area is out of proportion with the rest of her body. But you know, women's bodies come in all shapes and sizes, so maybe that's just how she is. I messed up the shoes again. It's fine. It's fine. The one after that was King of Marigold, and as we saw, that was a big improvement. Number 3 is Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. The name is fine. It's good to sing Lucy in the Sky. It's rolls off the tongue pretty nicely. The reason that this character is so high up on the list of worst Beatles characters is that she is almost secondary to the hero's journey of the rest of the body of the song. We're going on a quest.
Picture yourself in a boat on a river.
There are newspaper taxis, tangerine trees, marmalade sky. Our setting is perfect. We know who we are, where we're going. We're not sure why we're going, but you know, it's a journey. And then bam! Who is she? What has she to do with the story? To be honest, the music is exactly the same. The chorus of the song is like a musical non sequitur compared to the rest of the song. So in that way it's kind of fitting, but it does still raise the question of why? Why? Anyway, let's look at her picture. Okay, this is Lucy. As you can see, I was practicing texture and wrinkles again here, and perhaps I went overboard somewhat. There are diamonds in the sky. I learned how to draw some diamonds. Her eyes are kind of creepy, but I think it's just because I was going for kaleidoscopic. I think that I have achieved tasteful cleavage, which was my aim. For once, the hands aren't terrible. They're still a little on the wobbly side, but you know, the proportions are mostly right, and they look like hands, and they don't make me want to retch when I look at them, so that's Lucy. Whew, 2 left. Number 2 is she. Another she. Not she's leaving home this time, but she came in through the bathroom window. Again, we've docked points because she was not given a name. She's this nameless, faceless figure. The backstory, loosely based on a situation that Paul McCartney himself lived through, where a fan broke into his bathroom window because there was a ladder outside the house. And in case it needs to be said, just because someone has a ladder outside of their house does not mean that they are inviting you in. And with that out of the way, even though that's sort of the starting point of the lyrics, it really feels like everything else is just a random collection of details. It's not really a proper story. And in fact, half the time I'm not even sure who we're talking about. Like, if she's protected by a silver spoon, presumably she comes from a background of wealth. However, she also said she'd always been a dancer and worked in clubs. Dancers famously don't get paid much. Does that mean that the dancing in a club was a hobby? Also, is this the same club in which Polythene Pam was dancing? Polythene Pam is linked to Mean Mr. Mustard. His sister Pam. It'd be kind of cool if they were all, you know. Anyway, a little bit of headcanon, I guess. It's a good song, but it doesn't necessarily tell the story on its own. By that I mean, like, if you listen to Honey Pie and you weren't an English speaker, you would get a sense of what the song is about because the music is so illustrative. Michelle's another one. You would have a sense of what the song is about. Or Girl. This one very much feels like Paul just threw some lyrics at a song that he was writing. Whatever. Now, I know I said before that Paperback Writer was my favorite drawing, but actually I take it back. It is this one. This is my favorite drawing that I have done in the past year. I don't know, I'm just really proud of that. I think that's a great drawing. I think this is my best work. Alright, and here we go. The worst Beatles character, number 1, or number... I've forgotten how many there are, but bottom of the list or top of the list, depending on your perspective, is the Sun King. So for a start, John Lennon didn't make up the name. It was the nickname of Louis XIV. Louis XIV. I think the King of Marigold is better. If you're going to go with a king, I think King of Marigold has like a bit of color to it and is more original. And the thing is about this song, the name really doesn't matter because I don't even know that the song is about the Sun King. Half the lyrics are literal nonsense. And the other half tell us only that some people who may or may not even be linked to the Sun King are having a good time. Everybody's laughing. But the thing is, the music is so blissed out that we don't particularly care about any of it. We know nothing about the character. The whole song, including the silly lyrics, is just a vibe. It's a vibe, man. And this is what my Sun King looks like. I don't like this as much as the one before it, mainly because I don't know what the hell I've done with this nose. It's like I was okay at drawing noses and then I forgot how to draw noses. This nose is obscene, to be honest. Not great. However, he's got impressive leg muscles. Maybe he cycles with the King of Marigold. Proud of the shoes. Quite pleased with the shoes. Hands are creepy. In this drawing, I think, good clothes. That's all I got. Yeah, unfortunately, there's a bit of a dip there in quality, but it's okay. We live and we learn, and I've continued drawing since then. I draw strange dreams that I have had. And sometimes if I'm feeling especially brave, I try portraits. I'm not very good at them though. This is my best attempt at drawing myself here. So yeah, I'll persist. We'll see where I end up. I asked a friend if I could take a photo of him so I could do a portrait, just for practice, you know, not as a gift or anything. And he said, oh cool, can I see some of your other drawings? And I showed him and he said, maybe wait until you're a little bit better before you do my portrait. That's okay. Maybe one day I'll be good at drawing. Or maybe not. Maybe I'll just flounder for the rest of my life. But, you know, as long as I'm having a good time. And on that note, I hope you've had a good time. If you enjoyed this episode or you would like to support any of the weird things that I do, I'll leave a link in the description for my Buy Me a Coffee page where you are most welcome to make a donation, if you wish. No pressure, friends. To all of you who have made a donation, thank you so much. I really appreciate you very much. If you're curious about what any of my original music sounds like, I will leave a link in the description to that as well. Otherwise, thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you here next week. Have a great weekend!
Hello, Vinyl Friday fam. This is Editor Nancy coming to you live from outside. At the beginning of the year, my dad made a prediction that I would hit 8,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And as at the time of this recording, I am at 7,143 subscribers.
Hello everyone, this is Editor Nancy coming to you live from the future. That number is now 7,339. 7,617. So
7,876. By the time this airs, all going well, hopefully, I will have hit 8,000 subscribers. So at this stage, let's just see how high we can go. Shoot for the moon, folks! So I'm not going to tell you to like and subscribe because I'm sure you know how to do that from all of the other YouTube videos that you watch, YouTube connoisseur that you are. But if you had forgotten or were putting it off, or whatever valid reason you might have to not subscribe, but you decided that you wanted to do so now, my father would get a huge kick out of it. So I'll just leave that with you. Do as you please. I respect your decision either way.
God, it's dark in here. But I've just gotten a cat, so I can't turn the light off because I would have to move him, and that would be just unforgivable. I don't know that he would ever get over it. Would you?